Imagine this. What if every smile, every tear, every heartbreak, and every joyful moment in your life had a deeper purpose? What if the pain you thought was meaningless was actually leading you somewhere meaningful? And what if I told you that according to Buddhism, nothing, absolutely nothing, happens by chance? Stay with us as we open the doors to one of the most profound teachings of Buddhist philosophy, a journey that reveals how every experience, whether joyful or painful, carries meaning and offers insight. By embracing this path, you'll not only begin to understand yourself more deeply, but also uncover a source of inner peace rooted in timeless wisdom. Let's begin with a truth that flows through all life, the law of impermanence. Everything in life is in a state of constant change. Nothing is fixed. The seasons shift, our emotions rise and fall, relationships evolve, and even our own bodies transform over time. In Buddhism, this universal truth is called anicca, impermanence, and it is one of the foundational principles of existence. Yet suffering often begins when we fight this truth. We cling to happiness, wishing it would never fade. We resist pain, hoping it will vanish at once. But life doesn't stand still. It moves like a river, always flowing, always changing. Think of that river for a moment. Does it ever try to hold on to the water that's already passed? Of course not. It glides forward, embracing each new bend, each rock, each drop. Or picture a tree in autumn. It lets its leaves fall without complaint, knowing that spring will return with new life. These rhythms of nature mirror what we too must learn: to release what no longer serves us, and trust that every ending carries the seed of a new beginning. When we begin to accept impermanence, something beautiful happens. We stop fearing change. We stop grasping, and we start living more fully in the present. Every challenge becomes a chapter, not the whole story. Every joy becomes a gift, not a possession. True peace isn't about controlling what happens. It's about flowing with what happens. It's about learning to meet each moment, not with resistance, but with gentle awareness. And that brings us to another key principle that guides this path of awareness: the law of cause and effect, karma. Previously, we reflected on impermanence and how accepting life's constant change can bring inner peace. Now we turn to another powerful teaching: karma, the invisible thread that weaves through every moment of our lives. At first, karma can seem confusing, even contradictory. After all, don't we often see people doing harm yet facing no immediate consequences? Buddhism gently explains, karma is not always instant. It's like planting a seed. Some sprout quickly, while others may lie beneath the surface, waiting for the right time to grow. This is why understanding karma requires patience and awareness. Every thought, word, or deed we put into the world plants something. And even if the result isn't visible right away, the energy still exists, shaping the future in ways we often don't realize until much later. Karma also brings us face to face with something deeply empowering: personal responsibility. It's easy to blame others or external events for the hardships in our lives. But when we look more closely and honestly, we often find that our own past choices, however small, played a part in shaping where we are now. This doesn't mean we should dwell in guilt or shame. On the contrary, Buddhism teaches that recognizing our responsibility is the key to freedom. If our actions and thoughts helped create our reality, then we also hold the power to change it. There's a beautiful story from the Buddhist tradition that illustrates this. A disciple once asked his teacher, Why are some people born into poverty while others have wealth? Why do some seem so lucky and others always struggle? The teacher replied, "If you plant apple seeds, you will get apples. If you plant thorns, you will get thorns." Every life, he explained, is the result of countless past actions, and every choice we make today is a seed for tomorrow. But don't mistake karma for a rigid fate. It is not a punishment, nor is it destiny set in stone. It is a flow, one that we can influence. No matter what we've done in the past, we can always begin again. We can start planting better seeds, seeds of compassion, wisdom, and kindness. Karma is generated in three main ways: through thought, word, and action. Each of these carries energy. A hateful thought may seem small, but if nurtured, it can grow into hurtful speech and even harmful behavior. On the other hand, a single thought of love or gratitude can ripple outward, changing how we speak, how we act, and how others feel around us. That's where mindfulness becomes a powerful ally. When we observe our inner world with honesty, we begin to notice the cycles we're caught in. If we always react with anger, we may find ourselves surrounded by conflict. But if we choose calm and compassion, we can shift the atmosphere around us and within us. Karma doesn't just affect our personal journey, it also shapes the collective. Our choices ripple into our families, our communities, even the wider world. When we embody values like generosity, patience, and empathy, we uplift not only ourselves, but everyone we touch. And one of the most essential elements of karma is intention. It's not just what we do, but why we do it. Helping someone to gain praise feels very different, energetically, than helping from a place of true care. The same act can carry two completely different kinds of karma depending on the motivation behind it. Throughout our lives, we accumulate habits and patterns from countless experiences. But that doesn't mean the past defines us. Each new day is a fresh chance, an opportunity to plant better seeds, no matter how many mistakes we've made before. So, where can we begin? Even small steps, being a little more patient, a little more generous, a little more kind, can start shifting our karma in powerful ways. In our previous reflection, we explored how our thoughts, words, and actions shape our reality through the law of karma. Now let's take a closer look at how even the smallest choices we make, especially those rooted in kindness and honesty, can ripple through life in powerful ways. Think about this. A simple word of encouragement, a genuine act of generosity, or a moment of listening without judgment. These may seem like small gestures, but their impact can be profound. Just as a single drop of water creates ripples across a still lake, every positive action we take sends out waves, reaching far beyond what we can immediately see. When we act with sincerity, when we help others without expecting anything in return, we plant seeds of goodness that quietly blossom in ways we may never fully know. Karma reminds us that we are not powerless bystanders. We are the artists painting the canvas of our lives, brushstroke by brushstroke. This doesn't mean we can control everything that happens. Life will always present challenges. But we do have control over one thing: how we respond. Every choice we make is a fork in the road, an opportunity to move toward a more conscious, fulfilling path. When we understand the law of cause and effect deeply, we stop seeing ourselves as helpless victims of circumstance. Instead, we begin to recognize our role in the unfolding of our own story. This shift in perspective gives us not only greater peace, but also a renewed sense of purpose. Karma also transforms the way we experience pain. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we begin to ask, "What is life trying to teach me through this?" With that change in mindset, even the most difficult moments become stepping stones, lessons that build our resilience and guide us toward deeper wisdom. Ultimately, everything we do, say, or think returns to us, not as punishment or reward, but as a natural echo of our choices. When we live with this awareness, we become more intentional, more thoughtful, and more compassionate, laying down a path filled with greater harmony and meaning. But if we're truly seeking inner peace, we must also face another major cause of suffering: attachment. According to Buddhist teaching, much of our pain stems from clinging, from holding tightly to people, possessions, emotions, or even ideas. We believe they will bring us lasting happiness, and when they change or disappear, as all things eventually do, we suffer. The trouble with attachment is that it ties our well-being to things beyond our control. We think, "I need this person," or "I can't be happy without this job." But when our peace depends on the external, life feels fragile, because change is constant. Letting go doesn't mean we stop caring. It doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent. It means loving without grasping. It means appreciating the present without demanding that it stay the same. A love that is free from attachment isn't about control or possession. It flows naturally with acceptance and grace. And when we stop clinging, we find a lightness we never knew we were missing. We realize we can fully enjoy this moment without fear of losing it. We begin to live with more ease, more clarity, more freedom. True peace arises not from trying to keep everything the same, but from embracing life as it changes. By accepting impermanence, we unburden ourselves from the constant anxiety of trying to hold on, and we begin to live more fully, more freely. This leads us to one of the most misunderstood yet powerful insights in Buddhist wisdom: the art of acceptance, how flowing with life, rather than against it, opens the door to lasting tranquility. Previously, we explored how clinging creates suffering and how letting go opens the door to peace. Now, let's go deeper into one of Buddhism's most powerful teachings: acceptance, not as resignation, but as the path to true freedom. Often, we suffer not because of what actually happens, but because of how we resist it. We carry a constant inner need for things to be different, hoping situations will align with our expectations. If events unfold in ways we didn't plan, we get frustrated. If someone behaves differently than we hoped, we feel angry or hurt. And when life changes, we cling to the past, longing for what was. But life, in its ever-moving rhythm, continues on, with or without our approval. This resistance is what creates suffering. The more we fight reality, the more we suffer. But when we begin to accept things as they are, we start to move through life with more grace, more calm, and more peace. Buddhism teaches that everything, every joy, every sorrow, every twist of fate, arises from a vast web of causes and conditions. Nothing happens randomly. Even if we don't see the reason immediately, every experience carries a message, a teaching. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we might ask, "What can I learn from this?" There's a beautiful Zen story that perfectly captures this lesson. A farmer once had a horse. One day the horse ran away. His neighbors came to comfort him, calling it a terrible misfortune. But the farmer calmly replied, "Who knows if this is good or bad?" A few days later, the horse returned. bringing several wild horses with it. The neighbors rejoiced, calling him lucky. Again, the farmer said, "Who knows if this is good or bad?" Soon after, his son tried to tame one of the wild horses. He was thrown off and broke his leg. The neighbors once more lamented his bad luck, but the farmer simply repeated, "Who knows if this is good or bad?" Weeks later, soldiers came to the village to recruit young men for war, but they passed over the farmer's son because of his injury. This simple tale reveals a deep truth. What seems like misfortune today may turn out to be a blessing, and what looks like a blessing may come with unseen challenges. Life is constantly unfolding, and only with time can we begin to see the full picture. Acceptance, however, doesn't mean inaction. If there's something in our life that causes harm and we can change it, we should. But if something is beyond our control, struggling against it only adds more pain. Wisdom lies in knowing the difference between what can be changed and what must be accepted. This wisdom grows through the practice of meditation and mindfulness. When we sit in stillness, we begin to notice our thoughts, emotions, and reactions. Instead of judging or suppressing them, we learn to observe them as they rise and fall, like waves passing through the mind's ocean. Over time, we develop the ability to meet life's ups and downs with calm awareness. One of the greatest challenges in this journey is learning to accept others as they are. How often do we suffer because we want someone to be more loving, more understanding, more like us? We want to change people, reshape them to match our expectations. But every person walks their own path, carries their own burdens, learns in their own time. When we let go of the urge to control others and begin to embrace them, with both their light and shadow, our relationships soften. We stop demanding change and start cultivating understanding. Now, acceptance doesn't mean we approve of everything. If someone treats us unfairly or unkindly, it doesn't mean we must endure it. But we can choose to accept who they are rather than constantly wishing they'd be different, so that our peace no longer depends on their behavior. And perhaps the most transformative form of acceptance is this: accepting ourselves. Previously, we reflected on the importance of accepting others as they are. But there is one person many of us forget to extend that same compassion to: ourselves. We are often our own harshest critics. We replay our mistakes, dwell on our shortcomings, and wish we were different. But Buddhism gently reminds us that self-compassion is not weakness. It is the foundation of true well-being. Accepting ourselves doesn't mean we give up on growth. It simply means we stop fighting against who we are in this moment and instead begin treating ourselves with the same kindness we offer to others. Throughout life, change is unavoidable. We will experience loss. We will stumble. We will make decisions we regret. But we will also discover love, experience growth, and encounter unexpected opportunities. Life isn't just about one emotion or one event. It's a dance between joy and sorrow, between success and failure. When we learn to accept both the highs and lows with equal serenity, we begin to touch a deeper peace, one that is not dependent on whether life is going according to plan. Acceptance lifts the heavy burden of resistance from our shoulders. It allows us to stop pushing against the current of reality and begin embracing each moment with gratitude and grace. Happiness isn't about controlling every detail of life. It's about flowing with life, moment by moment. being present with what is, rather than obsessed with what should be. And we don't have to start big. Each day offers us small opportunities to practice acceptance. We can begin by not getting irritated in traffic. We can smile when it rains on a day we wanted sunshine. We can learn to be patient when someone around us is moving at their own pace. These small acts of acceptance prepare us for the bigger storms in life. The more we practice letting go in little moments, the more ready we are to face life's deeper challenges, with wisdom, with patience, and with calm. Real freedom doesn't come from controlling everything. It comes from learning how to flow with life. Acceptance opens the door to that freedom, inviting us to live with greater ease, inner stability, and peace of mind. But what about those moments that truly test us? Moments of deep pain, confusion, and loss. How do we accept them? In the next part, we'll explore how even our greatest struggles can carry hidden teachings if we learn to listen. In our last reflection, we touched on how suffering can carry hidden lessons if we're willing to see it that way. Now let's dive deeper into this powerful truth. Every adversity holds the potential to awaken something essential within us. Life often gives us challenges not to punish us, but to help us evolve. A relationship that comes to an end might teach us the strength of standing on our own. A professional setback may gently push us to explore a path more aligned with who we truly are. An illness can be a wake-up call, a reminder to care for both our body and mind more attentively. Nothing is meaningless if we remain open to learning. Often, it's only with time and distance that we begin to see the purpose behind a painful moment. What once felt like a devastating loss might, in hindsight, reveal itself as the turning point that led us to something better, deeper, or more fulfilling. The key is to not get stuck in despair or endless complaints. Even when we don't understand the reason yet, we can choose to trust that life is always offering us something, even through pain. Buddhism invites us to see every single experience, especially the difficult ones, as an opportunity for growth and transformation. Rather than cursing the storm, we might ask, what is this moment teaching me? Is it helping me develop patience? Is it showing me how to release control? Is it quietly preparing me for something I cannot yet foresee? The human mind instinctively resists pain. We want to run from it, numb it, or erase it as quickly as possible. But when we face pain with awareness, it can purify us, just as fire refines gold, burning away what no longer serves and revealing the brilliance beneath. Every hurt we feel can point to something within us that needs attention. If a harsh comment leaves a deep scar, it may reveal the need to strengthen our self-worth. If a loss overwhelms us with grief, it may be calling us to learn the delicate art of letting go with love. Every uncomfortable emotion, when met with mindfulness, shows us a part of ourselves still waiting to be understood and healed. Accepting adversity doesn't mean surrendering to it or giving up. It means looking at hardship and asking, what can I grow from this? We can choose to see obstacles as cruel misfortunes or as profound teachers. That choice in itself shapes the course of our life. Here's a simple yet powerful exercise. Take time to write about some of the most difficult moments you've faced. Then, reflect on what those experiences taught you. You may be surprised to discover how those moments helped you build resilience, compassion, or wisdom. Even the events that once felt unbearable may reveal a deeper purpose when seen through the lens of growth. When we believe that everything has meaning, we face challenges with a steadier heart and a clearer mind. Instead of asking, "Why me?" we begin to ask, "What for?" And that single shift in perspective transforms our entire experience of suffering. Life's lessons aren't always easy, but they are always valuable. Every experience, no matter how painful, is shaping us for something greater. When we begin to see our struggles as part of an inner evolution, we stop fearing them. We start walking into them with courage, knowing that growth is on the other side. In Buddhism, nothing is considered random. Every difficult moment is a doorway, a passage to greater understanding, greater strength. We only need the courage to walk through it. And that courage is nurtured through the practice of mindfulness, the art of truly being in the present. So, how can we anchor ourselves in the now when our minds are so often lost in the past or rushing toward the future? Previously, we explored how even life's most difficult moments can carry powerful lessons if we're willing to be present and open. Now, let's turn to the heart of that presence, the practice of mindfulness, the art of truly being here, now. To live mindfully means to anchor ourselves in the present moment, fully aware, undistracted, and engaged with life as it unfolds. But how often are we truly here? So often, we get lost in the maze of our thoughts, drifting into the past or projecting ourselves into the future. When our mind clings to the past, we tend to relive old wounds, regrets, or memories that no longer serve us. When it leaps into the future, we build imagined scenarios, most of which may never happen, creating layers of worry and stress. But the present is the only moment that is real. It is the only place where life actually happens, the space where we can act, feel, breathe, and simply be. Mindfulness is not limited to a meditation cushion. It's a way of living, moment to moment, with full awareness. It means bringing your whole presence to each action. Eating mindfully means tasting your food bite by bite, without rushing. Listening mindfully means giving someone your full attention without planning your response while they speak. Walking mindfully means feeling the earth beneath your feet, sensing the wind against your skin, instead of being lost in thoughts about yesterday or tomorrow. Yet, in modern life, many of us live in a near constant state of distraction. We scroll through our phones while eating, check emails during conversations, think about work while spending time with family. Physically, we're present, but mentally, we're somewhere else. And this disconnect not only robs us of joy, but also increases our anxiety and stress. Buddhism teaches that our mind is like a restless monkey, always jumping from one branch of thought to another, never pausing to rest. Meditation is the training ground that helps us gently calm that monkey mind and invite it to sit still, even if just for a few breaths. In the beginning, mindfulness practice can feel challenging. The mind wanders. But over time, with gentle persistence, we become more aware of our mental patterns. We begin to notice when our attention drifts and, most importantly, we learn that we have the power to bring it back. A simple yet powerful way to start is by focusing on the breath. Just observe the air entering and leaving your body. No need to force or control it. And when your thoughts inevitably wander, simply return to your breath again and again. That returning is the practice. It is how we build our ability to stay grounded in the present. Mindfulness doesn't require us to eliminate all thoughts. Instead, we learn to observe them without becoming entangled. Imagine your mind as a vast blue sky. and your thoughts as clouds drifting across it. You don't need to chase them or push them away. Just notice and let them pass. The more we live this way, the more clearly we see how many of our worries are unnecessary. We begin to recognize that much of our suffering comes not from what is happening, but from the stories we're telling ourselves about the past or the future. But when we anchor ourselves in the now, we find a kind of peace that is quiet, steady, and independent of outer circumstances. Mindfulness also gives us space to respond rather than react. So often, we lash out in anger, act out of fear, or speak from a place of frustration. But when we are truly present, we create a pause, a sacred space, between stimulus and response. In that space, we regain our power to choose. We can respond with clarity, wisdom, and compassion. In Buddhism, it's said that every moment is a doorway to awakening. You don't need a silent retreat or a mountaintop to practice. Every breath, every step, every sip of tea is an opportunity to be mindful. Whether you're washing your hands, hearing birdsong, or simply feeling the warmth of sunlight on your skin, life is unfolding right now. In the previous reflection, we discovered that mindfulness isn't about waiting for a special moment. It's about living fully in this one. Now let's explore how every instant of our lives, no matter how ordinary it may seem, carries immense value if we learn how to truly appreciate it. Many people search for happiness as if it were a prize waiting at the finish line, a destination they'll arrive at once everything falls into place. I'll be happy when I get that promotion, or when I meet the right person, or once I achieve my goals. But Buddhism reminds us, happiness doesn't exist in the future. It exists in the way we live the present moment. If we don't learn to be present now, we'll always be chasing something just out of reach, mistaking the next achievement or milestone as the answer. And yet, the joy we're looking for is often already here, in the simplicity of a quiet morning, in a shared laugh, in a moment of stillness. We just need to slow down enough to notice it. Mindfulness helps us see the hidden beauty in our everyday lives. It trains our awareness to recognize the moments we usually overlook, the warmth of sunlight on our skin, the scent of food as we cook, the sound of a loved one's voice. It's not about pretending life is perfect or problem-free. It's about cultivating the clarity to face challenges without being swept away by the mental chaos. And it starts small. It can be as simple as taking a few conscious breaths when you wake up in the morning, really listening to someone when they speak, without preparing your reply in your head, eating your next meal with gratitude, truly tasting each bite. These micro moments of presence, repeated day by day, begin to shape the way we experience life. Mindfulness isn't a vague concept. It's a practical tool, a compass we can use to find peace, even in the midst of daily stress. It grounds us in the truth that life isn't happening yesterday or tomorrow. It's happening right now. And the more we learn to live fully in the present, the more we realize that happiness isn't something to chase. It's something we can touch here in this breath. This brings us to one of the most liberating insights in Buddhist wisdom, the power of the mind, and how we can transform it from a source of pain into a source of freedom. Our mind can be our greatest ally or our most relentless critic. According to Buddhism, it's not the external events that cause our suffering, but our interpretation of those events. We suffer not because of what is, but because of the story we attach to it. If we learn to observe our thoughts rather than be swept away by them, we begin to transform the way we live. Most of us go through life reacting on autopilot, unaware that we actually have a choice. Through meditation and mindful self-observation, we can gently retrain the mind, not to eliminate suffering, but to understand it. Every difficult emotion we face becomes a doorway. Fear, anger, grief, each holds the potential to reveal something within us that's ready to grow. When we stop identifying so closely with our worries, we begin to discover a spacious kind of freedom, one that isn't shaken by changing circumstances. Enlightenment, in this sense, isn't a far-off mountaintop. It's a way of being. It's a moment-by-moment commitment to awareness. When we let go of clinging to negative thoughts, when we soften into presence, when we cultivate peace within, we not only transform our minds, we transform our entire reality. Thank you for walking with us on this journey through the timeless wisdom of Buddhism. We hope these reflections have offered you a deeper sense of understanding and a gentler way to meet your own life. If this video spoke to you, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss what's coming next. And we'd love to hear your thoughts. Which of these teachings touched you most deeply? Leave a comment and let's continue this path of discovery together. Because remember, everything happens for a reason, and the journey of growth never truly ends, it only deepens.